Porygon2 was the first ever Pokemon we ran in the Just the Battles mini-series here on the channel. It dominated the leaderboard from beginning to end of that series, and now it's time for Porygon2 to find its place on the main leaderboard. But of course in this series we start from the base form of each Pokemon, so now let's see just how well the entire Porygon2 line will do. And now, as we're beginning to prepare for our half hour or so with Porygon2, I just want to give you a little update about the channel. We are now very much in the countdown to our first anniversary celebrations, and we have an awful lot of fun planned. The next 4 runs, including this one, are 4 of my absolute favourite runs, and I don't think I've ever been this excited looking at my upcoming schedule before. It's going to be a very, very good time, and then on the 15th of August we're going to have a huge celebration. But that's enough waffling about things still to come. Let's turn our attention to Porygon and take a look at the stats. We are level 5 with 22 HP. We're of course holding the berry, and our moves are Tackle, Conversion and Conversion 2. We've got 11 in attack, 12 in defense, 14 in special attack, 13 in special defense and 9 in speed. And you can absolutely tell that Porygon used to be a fully evolved Pokemon with those stats. As always, let's take a look at the very first encounter we have with a wild Pokemon, and this time it's a level 2 female Pidgey. A pair of tackles takes it out very, very easily. And we can start moving on towards Mr. Pokemon's house. Now, as we're going and having a little chat with Professor Oak, I want to talk about the differences between Porygon and Porygon2. The learn set is very, very similar, but at level 24 as a Porygon we learn Sharpen instead of Defense Curl, and that could be game changing. Having a way to increase our already very high attack stats really will help out later in the run. For now though, I'm going to tell you I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with Porygon, and the reason I chose Totodile is because Chikorita is the bulkiest of all 3 starters, so it gives us the best challenge throughout the entire course of the run. But after beating up the rival in just a few tackles, we'll name him Triple Question Mark with the police officer, and we'll make our way back towards Violet City. Before we get there though, we do a little bit of training on routes 30 and 31, and we encounter Bugcatcher Wade. Bugcatcher Wade has 4 Bug-type Pokemon, 3 Caterpie and a Weedle, and it's against the first Caterpie that we learn Agility. Our speed isn't particularly fantastic, so there are going to be very, very edge cases where we just use an ability to speed up just that little bit. But now that we're through Wade, we can go into Violet City, where we're going to take on the gym. Of course, our first gym together is Falkner. He's a flying type specialist who leads with Pidgey. We comfortably outspeed the Pidgey and knock it out in 2 tackles, but out comes the Pidgeotto, and already our speed is a little bit of an issue. We don't outspeed the Pidgeotto, but we're hitting it very hard with tackle, and we're able to get through, surviving on 13 HP. That's our first badge, the Zephyr badge, in 6 minutes and 36 seconds. And now in a slight change to our normal routing, we're going to take on Sprout Tower after the gym. I always like to pick up Flash in my runs, so Sprout Tower is mandatory for me. And Porygon2 really benefits from going through the early part of the game at a higher level than other Pokemon, so it makes sense to knock this out when we're able to one-shot all of the Bellsprouts in the tower. We're not going to lose too much time compared to doing it after the league, and in fact doing this routing to get the levels earlier may gain time in the long run. But now with Flash acquired and Psybeam on our learn sets, we can make our way towards Azalea Town. Before we get there, we pick up the TM for Swift in the Union Cave, and then we head straight into the Ilex Forest where we're going to catch our HM friends. First up today is Psyduck, and Psyduck's going to be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Waterfall and Whirlpool. And being caught in just 1 ball, it was very cooperative. The next HM friend that we're going to find is Paris. Paris is going to be helping us out with Cut, with Flash, with Dig, and if we need it a little bit later on, Paris has also said they'll help out with Sweet Scent so that we can keep our repels on. And now with our 2 HM friends from the forest safely caught, we can make our way into our second gym. This is Bugsy, the Bug-type specialist who leads with Metapod. Psybeam isn't a one-shot on the Metapod as String Shot hits us, taking our speed even lower. We get the option to learn Recover, which we're going to do over Conversion, and then Psybeam is an easy one-shot against the Kakuna. Scyther comes out and Fury Cutter misses on turn 1, and it's just 3 hits with Psybeam to knock it out, and we get our second badge in a time of 14 minutes and 31 seconds. Porygon2 is making exceptionally good time in the early parts of the run, especially considering as we've already done Sprout Tower Let's see if we can keep the pacing up as we go up against the notorious second rival battle. He leads with Ghastly and we've got Psybeam to knock that out in a single hit. We grow to level 21 and another Pokemon weak to Psychic comes out, and that just leaves the Bayleaf. We hit Bayleaf with a Psybeam, but we have run out of PP for that. We swap to Tackle though to finish it off, and we are through the second rival battle in a time of 15 minutes and 4 seconds. Running out of Psybeam PP there reminded me though that we need to teach Swift over Tackle. Tackle's only base 35 power and Swift is base 60 power, and also Swift never misses, so we really should have taught that a little bit earlier on. Fortunately for us though, that didn't end up being a colossal misplay, and we can make our way through the forest to pick up our third HM friend. This one of course is Abra, whose only job is to teleport us back to Pokemon Centers, which on paper doesn't sound like a big job at all, but he really does add up with the time saves. Now that we're in Goldenrod City, we'll pick up the bike from the man in the shop and do a little bit of free advertising for him, and it will also let us move around the region in double quick time. And then the fourth and final HM friend we're going to pick up is Kenya. Kenya's going to be working in tandem with Abra to fly us around to all the Pokemon Centers, and between the pair of them they're really going to save our legs during this run. But now that we're in the National Park, we'll grab Quick Claw from the teacher, we'll grab Dig from the corner of the National Park, and we'll have a little chat with Floria. Floria tells us all about that pesky Sudowoodo blocking the way to Ecruteak City, but in order for us to unblock the route, we need to take on Whitney's gym. Before we challenge Whitney herself, we're going to engage Beauty Victoria in battle. Victoria has 3 Centrets, which was at one point at the very top of our leaderboard, and of the final Centrets we grow to level 24, and we learn what quite possibly is the most important move in this run. We now have Sharpen, and that means we can increase our attack on demand. And there is no better place to test out Sharpen than against Whitney. She is our third gym leader together, the normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. We sharpen 3 times and then get to attacking. It's a one-shot on the Clefairy, and we take the Miltank easily down under half health. Another Swift finishes it off, and we get the Plain Badge in a time of 14 minutes and 31 seconds. Sharpen really is making all the difference already. That battle would have been very, very tricky otherwise, and I think Sharpen is going to be one of those moves we keep for the entire duration of the rest of the run. But now that we've got the Squirts bottle, we can say goodbye to the Sudowoodo and make our way north to Ecruteak City. Our first destination here is going to be the Kimono Girls. We had a very easy ride through all 5 of the Kimono Girls. The only slight bit of danger we had was getting paralysed off the Jolteon. The paralysis didn't matter too much in the end though, as we easily took care of the Jolteon, and our reward is the Surf HM. Psyduck's going to be learning that a little bit later on, where we've also got Strength, because we want to optimise our menuing. For now though, let's head towards the Lake of Rage. We'll grab the rare candy from the bush, and we'll go into the very, very isolated house where the Hidden Power Man is awaiting us. And we are going to instantly teach Hidden Power to our Porygon in place of Recover, and this time our Hidden Power type is Fire. Hidden Power Fire really is the best coverage for those pesky Steel-type Pokemon. We've got something for everything else in our Learn set, but Steel types really would have been our Achilles heel, so it just makes sense to go for the Hidden Power type that's going to get us through this run as quickly as possible. Now that we're in Olivine City, we'll pick up Strength from the man in the cafe, we'll pick up an Ether in the lighthouse, and we'll engage Sailor Terrell in battle. And it's against Sailor Terrell that we grow to level 30, and at level 30 our Porygon will evolve into Porygon2. And because Porygon2 is a trade evolution, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer's Change Impossible Evo setting in order to get Porygon2 to evolve at level 30. There's a link in the description to all the alternative evolution methods, and I'll be keeping them consistent throughout all of the runs together. But while we've been talking, we've already interrogated Jasmine for our first attempt, and we're back in the Burnt Tower where the third rival battle is waiting for us. This time he's going to lead with Haunter, and we still have Psybeam on our Learn set, so that was a very nice one-shot, and we're on to the Magnemite. Hidden Power Fire makes mincemeat of the Magnemite, so he sends out Zubat. Zubat, of course, being weak to Psychic, gets knocked out straight away, and then a Hidden Power Fire knocks out the Bayleaf. And that's triple question mark defeated in a time of 28 minutes and 18 seconds. We really are starting to pick up the pace now on this run. We are roughly on a par with Feraligatr at the moment, which is sitting comfortably in 7th place on the leaderboard, and I really cannot foresee us getting anywhere other than a top 10 finish with Porygon2. Let's try and keep this pace up though as we engage our 4th gym leader in battle. This one's Morty, the poison and ghost type specialist who led with a Ghastly that's already fainted. He sends out a Haunter and that faints as well, and here comes the Gengar. We take Gengar down to 1 HP with our Psybeam, so it was very lucky we were holding on to the Mint Berry as we woke up straight away. We finish off his last Haunter, and we are through Morty in a time of 30 minutes and 8 seconds. And now with our chores in Olivine City already completed, we can start cycling and surfing our way over towards Cianwood City. And in Cianwood City, the only gym where we are at the type disadvantage waits for us. And if it was any other normal type, I would be worried about this gym. But we have great special attack, and of course we have Psybeam. So let's see how Chuck fares against our Psychic Digital Duck. He's our 5th gym leader together who leads with Primeape. It's a one-shot on the Primeape, so he sends out Poliwrath, and it's another one-hit wonder to knock out the Poliwrath, and 2 turns is all we needed to get the Storm Badge in a time of 32 minutes and 3 seconds. I really don't think we could have asked for a better gym battle against Chuck. Our reward of course is the Storm Badge and the Fly HM from Chuck's wife, and we'll utilise that straight away to get to the Lake of Rage. At the Lake of Rage, the angry red Gyarados is waiting for us once more, and we actually have more trouble against the Gyarados than we have had against most of these gym leaders in Johto. But once we've managed to calm down the angry Gyarados once and for all, we'll get the red scale and we'll have a little chat with Lance the Liar. And for once, something actually happens in the Mahogany Underground. Don't worry, this isn't an illusion, we're actually showing a bit of it in the final edit. We take on the scientists with the 3 Magnemite, and against the middle Magnemites we learn Tri-Attack. Tri-Attack is a much better move than Swift because it has the chance to either burn, paralyze or freeze, and if that wasn't good enough by itself, it's also base 80 power. With Stab, that is base 120 power coming from our Digital Duck. Nothing else significant happened in the Underground, so we'll skip to the very end. Lance gives us that knockoff Whirlpool HM, and we're going to dig out and make our way into the next gym. It's just on our doorstep here in Mahogany Town. It's Price's Ice-type gym, our 6th gym leader together, and he's going to lead with that very non-Ice type Seal. We'll lead off with a Psybeam against the Seal to try and get the confusion, but that doesn't quite work, so we finish it off with a Tri-Attack. Up next is Dugong, and Dugong gets paralysed from our Tri-Attack, and a second Tri-Attack knocks it out, and that just leaves Piloswine left to go. We use Hidden Power to take it deep into the red, and he gets caught in a healing loop, so it's just 2 subsequent hits to knock it out once and for all, and we have got the Glacier Badge in a time of 37 minutes and 16 seconds. In between badges 6 and 7, I sometimes like to do a little bit of housekeeping, and that's what we're going to do now. We'll grab the rare candy outside of the Sprout Tower, we'll head into the Charcoal Maker's house where we're going to pick up the charcoal for our Hidden Power Fire. We'll go into the Slowpoke well where we have a Rain Dance TM and a King's Rock waiting for us, and then we'll also go to Goldenrod City. We'll go and grab the rare candy and the nugget just south of the daycare before teleporting back to Goldenrod City proper and into the department store. In the department store we're going to grab Return from the lady at the desk who only appears on Sundays, and then make our way back to Olivine City. We'll ascend to the tippy top of the lighthouse where Jasmine has progressively been getting more frustrated waiting for us. We hand the secret potion to her, she whips out a Lipwick from her handbag, which means we cannot see her as she makes her escape towards the gym. We hotfoot it to the gym right behind her, we confront her, and I will tell you that this is Jasmine, our 7th gym leader together, who leads with Magnemite. Magnemite's an easy one-shot with Hidden Power Fire, so she sends out another one. She must think we're a water type being a Digital Duck. That goes down the same way, and we also one-shot the Steelix to knock her out in 3 turns. We get the Mineral Badge, we confiscate the secret potion from her, and we get out of there in a time of 39 minutes and 30 seconds. And now with Jasmine's lust for secret potion quelled for another run, we'll head back into Goldenrod City and take on the rival for the 4th time. This time he leads with Golbat, and that's bad news for him because we've still got Psybeam. We knock that out in one shot and we've got another Magnemite to melt. That goes down to a Hidden Power Fire, so he tries with Haunter. We do the Hokey Cokey with Psybeam and Hidden Power Fire as Sneasel is up next, and then we settle on Hidden Power Fire for the Meganium. We don't quite one-shot the Meganium, and that allows it to set up a Reflect, but it's all for nothing and all in vain as we get through the rival in 43 minutes and 31 seconds. Nothing happened between here and the top of the radio tower, so we'll pick up at Marie giving us the pink bow. While we're here, we'll also pick up the radio card from the lady at reception. We'll make our way outside, fly to Mahogany Town, and start travelling east towards Blackthorn City. In between Blackthorn and Mahogany though is the Ice Path, and there are a couple of important items to pick up, the first being Waterfall, which we'll teach along with Whirlpool to our Psyduck, and the second of course being the Nevermelt Ice. We don't have an Ice move on our learn sets right now, But with Icy Wind being an option via TM and Ice Beam being available after the league, it's always worth having. And now there's only one thing to do in Blackthorn, it's take on Claire, our 8th gym leader together, the Dragon-type specialist who leads with 3 Dragonair. All 3 Dragonair get knocked out by a single tri-attack each, and then I wanted to try and get a little bit clever against Claire's Kingdra. It didn't quite work out because I was going for Hidden Power Fire to try and stop her getting caught in a healing loop. However, Surf was just too strong and Tri-Attack was just too weak in order for us to be able to do it efficiently. We still got through Claire in a very good time though, and we get the Rising Badge in a time of 52 minutes and 19 seconds. And with that, we have all 8 badges acquired. That means we can start heading into Kanto towards the Pokémon League. We'll pick up the rare candy en route just east of New Bark Town and make our way into Victory Road. There's only one thing waiting for us in Victory Road though, and that is going to be our final rival battle of the run. He's done a little bit of chopping and changing with his party, he's got some new evolutions, and this time he's going to lead with Sneasel. We still have Hidden Power Fire on our learn set though, so that's an easy one shot, so he sends out Golbat. Golbat gets taken care of with a single Psybeam, and his next Pokemon is Magneton. We're back to the Hidden Power Fiery ways for the Magneton as we knock it out in a single hit, and his next Pokemon is Haunter. Haunter is no match for our Psybeam, and Tri-Attack makes light work of the Kadabra. That just leaves the Meganium left to go. We Hidden Power it to take it deep into the red, the Poison Powder misses, and with that we have defeated the rival once and for all. He gets out of here and we make our way into the Pokemon League. Of course, the first thing we do at the league is heal up whether we need it or not, and we'll say thank you to the HM friends. So thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, to Paris, and to all of you lovely people who have joined the channel membership. We'll grab our 4 full restores, which we'll need throughout the league, a couple of max potions for healing elsewhere, and let's take a look at the stats of our Porygon2. We are level 52 with 169 HP, we're holding the Scamulet coin with Tri-Attack, Hidden Power Fire, Sharpen and Psybeam. We have 124 in attack, 129 in defense, 151 in special attack, 141 in special defense, and around 100 in speed. And very quickly before taking on Will, I decide to replace Tri-Attack with Return. So now let's give our return a tryout against Will. He's our first league member who leads with Xatu. It's an easy one-shot against the level 40 Xatu, and it's much the same against the Jinx. Executor comes out to play and we don't quite one-shot it. That means that Will is going to set up a Reflect and make the Slowbro battle a lot slower. Unfortunately for us, our only special typings are resisted by Slowbro. It was still a 3-shot to get through it though, and the Reflect fades just in time for the Xatu, and we get through Will in a time of 58 minutes and 35 seconds. And our second league member is Koga, the Poison-type specialist who leads with Ariados. Return once again makes light work of the Ariados, and it does exactly the same for the Venomoth. He sends out Fortress next, which is incredibly flammable, so he melts it away with a Hidden Power Fire and he brings out the Muck. We swap to Psybeam for the Muck, and it's an easy 2 shots to knock it out, and that just leaves Crobat. Crobat outspeeds and sets up a double team, making sure our return misses on turn 1, but then he gets caught in a healing loop from turns 2 to 3, and that means we can defeat Koga in a time of 59 minutes and 14 seconds. Up next for the Pokemon League is Bruno, the fighting type specialist, and that means we're at a type disadvantage. We go for Psybeam against the Hitmontop, but it doesn't quite one-shot. That was a little bit of a disaster, because that means we are now going to struggle for the rest of this battle. We get swaggered off the Hitmonlee and we hit ourselves in confusion. To add insult to injury, double kick crits, and we decide to take the reset. Let's go for a completely different strategy. This Hitmontop doesn't have any fighting type moves, so we're just going to sharpen. We're going to show Bruno that you don't need to be a fighting type in order to hit hard, and it pays dividends as we one-shot all of his Hitmons. Dig and Muck Punch together caused us to get almost into the yellow, but we outspeed the Machamp, so no cross-shot for him this time, and then just to rub salt into the wound, we one-shot the Onix, and we are through Bruno in a time of 1 hour and 17 seconds. Karen is also notorious for stopping a run in its tracks, and unfortunately it's no different for us here. We get sand attacked by the Umbreon, although we do manage to knock it out in just a couple of returns, and we are on to the Vileplume. The Vileplume Stun Spore hits, and I decide to take the reset. Let's try again. We outspeed the Umbreon, and the sand attack misses. We are at full accuracy for the rest of this battle. Vileplume comes out and Return is an easy one-shot. Gengar comes out to play and it doesn't even get a chance to swear. Psybeam easily takes care of that in a single hit, and that just leaves both Murkrow and Houndoom. The pair of them are one shot each with return to knock them out, and we are through the Pokemon League in a time of 1 hour, 1 minute and 27 seconds. And now the only obstacle between us and the Hall of Fame is Lance the Liar with the Flyers. He of course leads with Gyarados. We're going to take advantage of his AI here by getting out a Sharpen while he sets up Rain Dance. Hyper Beam was the best move we could have hoped for there because it immobilises the Gyarados, allowing us to sharpen twice more, and now the rest of the battle is going to be a breeze. We are at 376 in attack for this battle, combined with the return's base power of 153 with Stab. And when you combine that with the attack boost from Falkner's badge and the normal type boost from Whitney's badge, you have the recipe for 5 easy one-shots to get through the Pokemon League and defeat Lance in a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. And our final league time is 1 hour, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. This is the second fastest we have ever been through the league. I think it's safe to say this is a very special run, and we've got another 8 badges plus red left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And we are back, where it all began outside our home in Newbark Town, where Professor Elm has a little gift for us. He's going to give us the SS ticket to allow us to get to Kanto proper, but before we go there we've got a few bits and bobs left to do in Johto. The first thing we're going to do is welcome back the HM friends, so it's a warm welcome back to Kenya, Abra, Psyduck and Paris, and now we're going to go into the game corner to spend all of our money. We held the Scamulet coin, but it wasn't quite enough to get Bolt Beam, so we're just going to settle for Thunderbolt. So it's a very, very sad goodbye to Psybeam and hello to Thunderbolt in its place. After that, we'll head into the Pokemon and buy a single Carbos. We're going to hold on to that for now and only use it just before we get to the point where we cannot use any further Carbos. That means we're getting the most stat experience for our money, and that will hopefully mean we're slightly quicker in the red fight. And then the last thing to do in Johto is pick up a pair of rare candies, the first one from Mount Mortar and the second one from the Whirl Islands. And with that, a hop, skip and a jump takes us to Kanto. And of course the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. With that safely tucked away with the rest of our rare candies, we'll cycle north into Saffron City and we're going to go into Mr. Psychic's house. He really does have an appropriate name because he gives us TM29, which contains Psychic, and that of course is the perfect replacement for Psybeam, which we forgot in place of Thunderbolts. We'll grab the leftovers from the bin in the cafe, the PP up from the bush, and while we're around these parts we'll engage Erica in battle. She's our 9th gym leader together, a grass type specialist who leads with Tangela. Tangela's taken care of with a single return, as is Jumpluff, so she sends out Victory Bell. Victory Bell's another one-shot with return, and her final Pokemon is Bellossom. Bellossom's yet another one-shot, so 4 easy one-hits to take care of Erica in a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 27 seconds. Up next is Misty. She's the water-type specialist who leads with Golduck. Thunderbolt makes light work of the Golduck, so she sends out Quagsire. Quagsire of course is immune to electric but isn't immune to our return. She tries again with Lapras, but that's another one hit, and the final Pokemon is Starmie. Starmie is yet another one-hit wonder, so we were yet to take any damage in the Kanto gyms, and we get the Cascade badge in a time of 1:11:42. Let's see if Sabrina can do any better for these gym leaders, and at first guess, I'm gonna say no. The Espeon is a single hit with return, as is Mr. Mime, and her final Pokemon Alakazam goes down in much the same way. That's 11 gym leader Pokemon down in Kanto, and we have yet to take a single hit point worth of damage. Surge is up next for the gym leaders. Let's see if he does any better than the previous 3 combined. Raichu puts up no resistance, so he sends out his first Electrode. That is very weak defensively, so it gets knocked out as well. Hidden Power Fire comes out for the Magneton, and that's a single hit as well, and he's only got 2 Pokemon left to go. The second Electrode goes down in much the same way as the first. The Electabuzz comes out, it's another one-hit wonder, and we are through Surge in a time of 1:13:25. Yet again, the normal type is showing why it is the best type for Gen 2 runs. We're now going to very quickly swap out Hidden Power Fire for Psychic and take on Brock. Brock is our 13th gym leader together who leads with Graveler, and this is why we have Psychic. All of Brock's Pokemon are lacking in the special defense department, and that means that even though Psychic isn't super effective, it is more than enough to prevent us getting hit by any moves yet again. And now with the Kabutops down, we have the Boulder Badge in a time of 1 hour 14 minutes and 40 seconds. We're going to take a little break from the Gym Leader Gauntlet now and have a chat with our friend 3Drill. He has asked me to tell you that he is doing very well and the bees really appreciate the love they've been getting in the comments section, and he just wishes that he could send a little bit of bee drill honey to each and every one of you. But now that we've had our chats, we'll make our way through Viridian City, down into Pallet Town, and finally onto Cinnabar Island. At Cinnabar Island, Blue is waiting for us. He doesn't have any 3Drill honey, so he's feeling a little bit down in the dumps. I tell him to go near Viridian Forest and he can find 3Drill, so he teleports away and maybe we'll catch up with him a little bit later on. In the meantime though, let's take care of our final 3 gyms together. We're starting with Blaine, the Fire-type specialist who leads with Magcargo, and just like in the previous Gym Leader Gauntlets, we are seeing no change to the results. It's another 3 simple one-shots for us to race through Blaine and get his badge in a time of 1 hour 16 minutes and 5 seconds. And now our penultimate gym battle is against everybody's favourite pushover, it's Janine. She is of course the leader of Fuchsia City's gym, taking over from Koga, and she is a poison type specialist. Unfortunately for her, we have Psychic and Return on our learn set, and that means that every single one of her Pokemon, as expected, is a simple one-shot. She doesn't even bother with a die hit this time when we get through her in a time of 1 hour 16 minutes and 44 seconds. And now before taking on Blue, we're going to replace Psychic with Icy Wind. That might seem like an odd choice at first, but Icy Wind with a Nevermelt Ice almost certainly guarantees a one-shot against the Rhydon. And so now let's take on Blue, our final gym leader together, who leads with Pidgeot. We've got Thunderbolt for Pidgeot and we knock it out in one shot, so he sends out Alakazam. Alakazam's physical defense is terrible, so gets knocked out with a single return, and here comes that Rhydon. We use Icy Wind and it misses. I was so annoyed, I thought I had a genius strategy. We knock it out on the second turn though, and we switch to Return for the Gyarados. My initial plan here was to use Thunderbolt to one-shot, but we needed to bait out the Rain Dance to stop taking Sandstorm damage. He gets caught in a healing loop and I wanted to try and bait out both full restores. It didn't quite work out like that, and then Exeggutor doesn't play ball either. He uses Leech Seed, which means we're going to be taking passive damage for the rest of the battle, and then we low roll on return, which means the Exeggutor gets healed back up to full health. The next turn knocks it out though, and the final Pokemon is Arcanine. We knock it out in a single hit, and even though we lost a fair amount of time at Blue, we're still through in a respectable 1 hour 18 minutes and 25 seconds. And with that, we have all 16 gym badges acquired. We are currently running 55 seconds ahead of Kangaskhan at this point in the run. And at this point in the run, I was getting very nervous. We have a very good chance to dethrone Kangaskhan from top spot, but I need to do everything perfectly. Before we take on Red, I decide to knock out one Wild Tangler. That grows us up to level 66, and that means our rare candies are going to get 1 extra level for this fight. But it is now or never as we take on Red, the final trainer of the run, and he leads with Pikachu. We don't outspeed the Pikachu and we get Charmed, so we're going to try again. We're going to have to do the Charm dodge for most of this battle. When we don't get Charms, we one-shot the Pikachu and we are on to the Espeon. Espeon is a lucky critical hit, so we can see how bad Snorlax is going to be. I take the risk and start sharpening against the Snorlax. I get 3 sharpens off, but then he critical hits us with Body Slam. I'm going to rush this and use our first 3 rare candies straight away. We are now at level 69, but we are still not outspeeding the Pikachu. I start to panic and use another 3 rare candies. We are now at level 72. At level 72, it's still not enough to outspeed the Pikachu, but Charm fails and we hit it with 1 single return to knock it out. Espeon's Psychic hits us for huge damage and we aren't able to one-shot against it. That means we're in the yellow as the Snorlax comes out. We try a return and we don't take off over half health, so we're gonna try again. We really need that Espeon to not hit us with 2 Psychics back to back. If we get hit by 2 Psychics in a row, we cannot set up against the Snorlax. Setting up against the Espeon doesn't work either though, because Reflect halves the amount of damage we're doing. We have no choice but to use our final 4 rare candies and hope for the best. It's now a speed tie with the Pikachu and the coin flip goes our way, so we knock that out in 1 hit. The Quick Claw activates against the Espeon and we are now strong enough to knock it out in 1 single hit. We start setting up against the Snorlax and he instantly paralyzes us, and we are back to square one. Thunder misses on the Pikachu as the speed tie goes his way, and we are onto the Espeon once more. We take the risk and sharpen against the Espeon, taking 2 turns of psychic damage in the process. But those sharpens are enough to make sure that Snorlax is a 2-shot. 90% of the time he goes for Amnesia on turn 1, and that's exactly what he does here. We decide to risk it against the Venusaur by going for 1 more sharpen, and it pays off as he goes for Solar Beam instead of Sunny Day. We now just have to survive the Flamethrower, which we comfortably do. We one-shot the Charizard, and that just leaves Blastoise left to go. We outspeed, and it's another simple 1-hit to knock him out. And we have defeated Red in a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes and 52 seconds, which is 19.5 minutes quicker than the Just the Battles run. And after a rewatch of the footage, our final time is confirmed at 1 hour, 22 minutes and 51 seconds, and that easily dethrones Kangaskhan by over a minute. We have a new champion of the Johto region, and goodness me, I was not expecting Porygon2 to be the one that dethrones Kangaskhan. At the other end of the leaderboard, we have Heracross now on the second page. Piloswine is now next in the page 3 drop zone, and on page 3 itself we have a fantastic foursome of Fortress, Corsola, Sunflora and Magcargo. And I reckon in the next run we should try and get them some company. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave it a like. If you want to see more content just like this, then click the subscribe button. If you've got anything at all to say, please do leave it in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.